something?
Carry on.
And you've seen no signs of the Grey Warden?
I'll ask around again tomorrow.
Let me know if you find it.
Irish Stone. Grey Wardens, you said? No.
We're not paying you to be sarcastic.
I'll keep an eye out.
Thank you.
Greetings.
Secret asked told me that he can't let the herbs go for anything less than 8.
Fine. We'll gather our own.
Chantry, he better leave us.
Your kind killed the most holy.
Lies. Your kind let her die.
Shut your mouth, mate!
Enough!
Knight Captain.
That is not my title. We are not Templars any longer. We are all part of the Inquisition.
And what does that mean, exactly?
Back already, Chancellor. Haven't you done enough?
I'm curious, Commander, as to how your Inquisition and its herald will restore order as you've promised.
Of course you are. Back to your duties, all of you. Mages and Templars were already at war. Now they're blaming each other for the Divine's death.
Which is why we require a proper authority to guide them back to order.
Who? You? Random clerics who weren't important enough to be at the Conclave?
The Rebel Inquisition and its so-called Herald of Andraste? I think not.
I don't believe I'm Andraste's herald any more than you do, Chancellor.
That laudable humility won't stop the Inquisition from using the misconception when it suits them.
The Inquisition claims only that we must close the breach or perish.
You say that now, Commander. We shall see if the sentiment remains true.
Remind me why you're allowing the Chancellor to stay.
Clearly, your Templar knows where to draw the line.
He's toothless. There's no point turning him into a martyr simply because he runs at the mouth. The Chancellor's a good indicator of what to expect in Val Royeaux, however.
How widespread is the violence between mages and Templars?
Impossible to say.
Your organization flouting the Chantry's authority will not help matters.
With the Conclave destroyed, I imagine the war between mages and Templars is renewed with interest.
The mages and Templars are fighting, even though we don't know what really happened at the Temple of Sacred Ashes.
Exactly why all this should be left to a new divine. If you are innocent, the Chantry will establish it as so.
Or we'll be happy to use someone as a scapegoat.
You think nobody cares about the truth? We all grieve Justinia's loss.
But you won't grieve if the Herald of Andraste is conveniently swept under a carpet.
I'll make sure they see reason in Val Royeaux.
I pray you're right.
You dislike the Templars, sister?
No. I know their purpose, but you remember I once ministered in a circle chantry.
Yes. I assumed you were used to having Templars around, keeping us safe from the mages.
The mages in the circle follow the Chant of Light as faithfully as the Templars, sister. More faithfully than some Templars, even. Some of the things those Templars did when they thought I did not see.
When will you be able to get us the
appreciated.
supplies we need?
When they're ready. Piss off.
Yes? Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
I'll leave you to your work.
These truths the Maker has revealed to me. As there is but one world, one life, one death, though you
There
have
is but
granted them
one
power over the very fate itself.
Caryodon will
Though
have
they
more
sang
pulses
hymns
for the
of
injured as
praise
soon as
unending.
possible,
Greetings,
revered
Herald
Mother.
of
Though they
Andraste.
could do anything,
How fares your quest to seal
they
the breach?
destroyed nothing, created nothing, loved nothing.
Not as well as it should. How can people focus on trivialities when faced with the breach?
It is easy for us to imagine that mundane matters fall aside in tumultuous times. The Chant of Light does not speak of feeding troops or arranging meetings or any such mundane concerns. But every organizational detail you contend with, Andraste herself once faced. These trivialities are steps on your path to victory, even if history never remembers them.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not the Herald of Andraste.
I understand. Whatever you believe, there remains a task to be done. If the faith of the people is nothing but a tool, then I beg you to use it well. We will all perish if you do not. In any case, I pray this Inquisition proves less brutal than its predecessor.
Do you know who the Grand Clerics will choose as the next Divine?
It is a difficult decision. All the obvious candidates perished with Divine Justinia at the Conclave. The Grand Clerics are terrified of the Inquisition. They will not decide soon, and I fear they will not decide wisely. Whoever is chosen needs the Inquisition's support. No one else seems likely to seal the breach.
I don't believe I've had the chance to speak candidly with a revered mother. Can you tell me about the Chantry?
Of course. Too many think that the Chant of Light should only be sung by humans. The truth is that knowledge of the Maker and Andraste should be open to all who wish to learn of him. We believe the Maker created us, and that mankind's sinful nature caused him to turn away. With Andraste's blessing, the Maker will forgive mankind once the Chant of Light is sung from all corners of this world.
Why does the Chantry allow only human women to become priestesses?
The official doctrine is that elves and dwarves have turned further from the Maker than humanity. And as for men, the chant holds that they are more vulnerable to anger or passion. But in truth, it is simply political, added after Andraste's death, like too many of our beliefs.
If you don't believe these restrictions are what Andraste wanted, why haven't you tried to change them?
Has the current state of the world not taught you the folly of fighting too many battles at once? I chose to use what power I had to help peasants forgotten by the nobles of Orlais. I believed there would be time to address their inequality under the Chantry once we had saved them from starving.
What is your stance on magic?
Andraste put it simply. Magic must serve man, not rule over him. However, those words must be put into the proper historical context. Andraste led a rebellion against the Tevinter Imperium, whose magisters controlled most of the world at the time. Even then, she never called for all mages to be put to death. She believed in peaceful coexistence.
I don't recall the Chantry being as tolerant of magic as you describe.
No. The Chantry is an imperfect vessel, pulled in every direction by those who would steer its course. Yet the Templars rebelled precisely because divine Justinia was not restrictive enough. Perhaps the Inquisition will find a better way.
There were calls for an exalted march to put down the Mage Rebellion. What was your opinion?
It was ignorant gossip. An exalted march only succeeds when it carries the will of the people. Even then, it cannot be undertaken lightly. People are too easily frightened. We cannot destroy everything they fear. An exalted march is justified only against a true threat to this whole world. It is an offense to the Maker to use it as a political bludgeon, or as a means of spreading the chant of light.
What about the exalted march that conquered the elves?
That is a hotly debated matter in some circles of the Chantry. The elves had conquered Montsemard and threatened Val Royeaux itself. They were not helpless victims. But even then, Orlais was the only nation to provide troops. It was hardly an exalted march of all the faithful. The Maker wishes his world to spread by example, not by war. We win no converts with blood.
Farewell.
Maker go with you. You return.
Can you tell me about the original Inquisition?
The original Inquisition was formed after the First Blight, well before the Chantry as we know it. The Inquisitors were hunters, zealots, who tracked and killed cultists and dangerous mages. As Andraste rose to power, the Inquisition came into her service. Instead of hunting those who would do harm, the Inquisitors spread the chant of light by force.
No wonder everyone is so nervous around us. Who chose that name?
Divine Justinia herself. I understand that this was not a popular decision. In any case, once the chant of light had spread far and wide, there was less need for zealots. The Inquisitors became the seekers of truth, and eventually the Templars.
This is a dark chapter of history for the Divine to revisit.
Do you know what impresses me most about the original Inquisition? They fought horrific battles, killed and died for their cause, and when it was time, they put their swords away. Perhaps the name was Divine Justinia's message, that when the Inquisition is needed, it will strike without mercy. But when its work is done, it will put its sword away.
How are the people doing after what happened at the Conclave?
They are scared, of course. Many have lost homes or loved ones. I doubt many will sleep well until you have sealed the breach. I have offered what help I can. The rest is for the Inquisition. What more do you wish to know?
What are you doing to help these people?
My sisters and I have been tending to the injured as best we are able. Some refugees come with food, while others arrive empty-handed. I have helped ensure that all have enough to eat. Beyond that, many simply wish the familiar comfort of the chant of light. It is little enough work to offer some comfort to those in pain.
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
They are terrified. Many of them came here because the war between the Mages and the Templars destroyed their homes. In their minds, the death of a Divine has destroyed any chance of peace. To that, add the breach. Farmers have fled their fields. If we do not restore order, half of Thedas may starve.
Do you have information on people elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate. Without help, starvation or war will claim many lives. Villagers in Crestwood are besieged by their own dead. They have sent word begging for assistance. People are vanishing in the hills of Emprise de Lyon. It may be demons or something worse, but they are terrified. More than that I cannot say. It is a chaotic time for all in Orlais and Ferelden.
Farewell.
Until next time. Greetings, Herald of Andraste. My healers would benefit from more supplies. We have run short of even common goods with so many wounded. If you could deliver this list and the items on it to Quartermaster Thren, she could get us what we need. It may not seem like much, but it would enable my healers to save many lives.
Farewell.
Until next time.
Has anyone dared ask? No, I do not think. Ah, Mistress Adar. May I have a word?
What did you need?
Well, as you are, Talvashos, people have asked. You grew up outside the Canary homeland, but there is no easy way to ask your thoughts on the Qun.
Have you studied the Qun?
It is a decided gap in my education. I know the Qun is a philosophy, a set of laws, a legislative guide, and a social architecture governing the Qunari. Those who appeared at court, however, insisted the Qun is too complex for an outsider.
It's not because you're human. Real Qunari tell me I'll never understand the Qun.
Yet they take converts. Their criteria is beyond my grasp. Do you believe in any of the Qun's philosophies?
I've met mages living under the Qun. Believe it or not, they trust magic even less than the Chantry.
Which indicates you have no reason to join them, and yet people ask how a Qunari could be Andraste's herald. It worries them if they believe it, and angers them if they do not. Convincing them of your good intentions will be tasking.
You'll think of something, Ambassador.
I hope so. It will be interesting. Strangely, your mercenary work is not so inflammatory. People are fabricating extravagant tales of your heroics.
They don't know how we held Kelgor's Pass, or tricked an army into surrendering at Val Royeaux. These people don't know the half of what I've done.
I noticed. Leliana found a letter from the captain of your last company. He had nothing but praise for your skill in battle, but doesn't mention what part you play.
Captain Tully praised me? William Ironass Tully?
That's quite the moniker. But yes, your captain went so far as to say he'd have lost entire battles without you.
I thought Captain Tully didn't even notice me.
It would be difficult to miss someone of your stature, Herald. Perhaps your captain felt it improper to play favorites. He certainly valued your skills in your last engagement.
I cornered bandits we were chasing and convinced them to give themselves up or be devoured by pet demons. I conjured up a few wisps and they practically threw their weapons away.
If the Chantry had heard and mistook you for a Maleficarum, how daring. I hope life in Haven doesn't bore you compared to such exploits.
The giant pulsing tear in the sky does keep things lively. So do the arguments in the war room.
Ah, our voices carry that far, do they? I must bring that up at the next meeting. Greetings.
What do the people make?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies.
Any visiting dignitaries?
None in particular.
With passion. Breath does the darkness creep. It is the whisper in the night.
work?
Let's see what we have. Having the Herald address the clerics is not a terrible idea.
You can't be serious.
Mother Giselle isn't wrong. At the moment, the Chantry's only strength is that they are united in opinion.
And we should ignore the danger to the Herald.
Let's ask her.
What can they do is just talk.
Don't underestimate the power of their words. An angry mob will do you in just as quickly as a blade.
I will go with her. Mother Giselle said she could provide us names. Use them.
But why? This is nothing but a...
What choice do we have, Liliana? Right now we can't approach anyone for help with the breach. Use what influence we have to call the clerics together. Once they are ready, we will see this through. The city still mourns.
Just a guess, Seeker, but I think they all know who we are.
Your skills of observation never fail to impress me, Varric.
My Lady Herald!
You're one of Leliane's people. What have you found?
The Chantry mothers await you, but so do a great many Templars.
There are Templars here?
People seem to think the Templars will protect them from the Inquisition. They're gathering on the other side of the market. I think that's where the Templars intend to meet you.
Only one thing to do, then. They wish to protect the people? From us?
Protect them from the blasphemous Herald of Andraste, I'd say.
Surely they cannot think such a thing.
Why not? They wouldn't be the only ones.
You think the Order's returned to the fold, maybe? To deal with us upstarts?
I know Lord Seeker Lucius. I can't imagine him coming to the Chantry's defense. Not after all that's occurred.
We're doing all this to get help with the breach. Maybe this is our chance to get the Templars on our side.
Perhaps. Return to Haven. Someone will need to inform them if we are delayed.
As you say, my lady.